Someday, we'll need to be somewhere again. And when that day comes, Amtrak is here for you with mask requirements, space for distancing, and efficient air filtration. So when you're ready, we're ready to take you.
We're on, so we're rolling. I see us on the screen, so we're here.
So that means we're starting.
Yeah.
It's our newest edition of Inside the Orange. We are pleased to be joined here in studio by the Deputy Athletics Director, Chief Marketing Officer, Andrew Goodrich. You've seen him on the show, good friend of the program. Andrew, it's always great to have you on. You're our first in-studio guest for this segment.
Oh, well, fantastic.
Great to have you here. How are things?
Things are going very well. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here.
All right, so I was explaining to you a little bit before we went on, just the whole concept behind Inside the Orange. It's for everybody at home to kind of get to know, maybe they've seen you at a game or they know the name, but what does he actually do? So we're going to have you take us behind the scenes to what you do at Syracuse University. I guess let's start with how you came here. You came here 2018, is that right?
Yes. Yep.
2018. How did you end up at Syracuse University?
It's a fun and good story. Listen, I grew up in central upstate New York. I grew up in Owego, New York, down in Tioga County. Bleed orange. I always tell people that I really, really became a diehard. Growing up on a dairy farm, I had to go to bed early. My dad let me stay up for the first time in my whole life the night that Syracuse played Indiana in the national championship game.
Is that right?
It was the first time I was allowed to stay up past my bedtime to watch a game.
And then they broke your heart.
I cried myself to sleep, but the orange got into the DNA that night, right? And I've had a passion for intercollegiate athletics because I was a student athlete myself. Played baseball at a small school called Cumberland University outside of Nashville, Tennessee. I moved down there after moving out of New York. But the reason why I ended up back here at Syracuse is I always wanted to be closer to home. I wanted to be around my family, and I wanted to be around and work for a team that I genuinely, authentically cared for. And I had tried to get back here to Syracuse a few times in my career and was unsuccessful, but finally was able to get this job here in 2018. And it couldn't have been better because all those years allowed me to learn, get educated, figure out my craft so that I could put it to work for the people in Central New York and these student athletes.
So how does one find a job in your position? Was it like you were online and you saw an opening, or did you proactively come after it?
Listen, it's really a tight group of people that work in this industry, and a very close personal friend of mine sent me a text message. The previous person who had worked here, fantastic guy, Chris Fuller, had left the position and said, "Hey, Chris is leaving Syracuse." And I literally called John Wildhack that day. I said, what's kind of fun is I had interviewed for the position and not gotten it the time before. And that's all right. Chris was fantastic, came from Tennessee, wonderful, wonderful guy, and I like him. But John knew me from the interview process before. And I had reached out to John. I said, listen, I am very much interested in coming back to Syracuse. And frankly, we were doing very, very well at the University of South Florida across the board. And, the timing just worked out perfectly. I'm a man of faith. I always felt like, all right, God's got timing. And that was the right time.
Timing worked out. Seems like it was a really good fit. For you. You mentioned that you're from this area. You were athletic director for a while, right? I was. At Owego?
Yep. Earlier in my career, I was the athletics director at Owego Free Academy, where I went to school, which was so much fun because it felt like a Saved by the Bell reunion. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like
you were Mr. Belding.
Yeah, I did. I thought I was cool and I was Zach, and it turns out I was Mr. Belding. Yeah. Right. But that was so much fun because I got to work with so many coaches that I knew who knew me growing up. And, we did some things there. I really wanted to change the culture at Owego Free Academy because it is a small school. And I wanted kids to know that they could dream big and go do amazing things. And, we built a brand new fitness facility that was there. Really proud of that. And I think that really energized the students, energized the coaches. They got to work, had a lot of success at that school there. And sent kids to go get some Division I scholarships after that, and that was That was part of my career journey. And, here's the funny part, right? So when I left Owego Free Academy to go to the University of Miami, I naively thought to myself, that's the last time I've got to talk to parents. Welcome to the name, image, and likeness era. As a collegiate administrator, you are going to be speaking to parents all the time.
All the time. And that's a great segue because, again, as we said, the crux of this initiative here is to kind of get to know what you do. So, we've obviously had you in here quite a bit for basketball, for football, talking about attendance and special events going on in and around games.
Yep.
Give us an idea of your responsibilities throughout an academic year.
Yep, absolutely. So we use this phrase, recruit, connect, elevate. That is what we do, right? We are recruiting the best fans. We are recruiting the best student athletes, the best coaches, the best staff. Right? My job is to help recruit as many great people to this organization as possible, any way I can help. And then elevate kind of speaks to that fan experience. Our job, and my job in particular, I'm responsible to make sure that we're elevating the fan experience in every way, whether that is live in the JMA Dome or whether it's you interacting with us on social media, our website, developing NFTs for just another way for our fans to interact with our student athletes, right? And then we really, we want to connect with people. And that's so important. It's easy when you work in a job that's in marketing and advertising to get transactional, but we want to be transrelational. We want to make sure that our fans truly know how much we appreciate them. We want our student athletes and the alumni to know how much we appreciate them, and that we are this ecosystem and we're symbiotic and we help each other out. And, that is a big, high philosophical description of what I do.
So it's not a coincidence that we had you on this week. We really wanted to have you on this week because of that announcement at the beginning of the week about the NFTs. You just referred to it right there. So help us old guys kind of understand what the NFT is all about and why this is a big deal for Syracuse University, why this is a big deal for the student athletes, and why fans should care about this.
More importantly than what it's about, like, I'm old. Like, what is it? What is an NFT?
I can describe it easy. All of us can understand it. Almost all of us collected sports cards, football, baseball, basketball cards as kids, right? This is the digital version, the modern version of the football card, right? And so digital collectibles are easily shared, sold, swapped with an app on your phone. Really easy. And so we partnered with a company called Fantastic. And if you want to get one of these NFTs that launched today, you just go to the Apple Store, right? Go to the App Store, download the Fantastic app, the Swap app, and then register. If you register today, you will get a free pack of Syracuse cards which is really important for us, has our current student athletes on it, something we couldn't have done before name, image, and likeness, because now we can, with every single sale, give a portion of those proceeds of the royalties goes back to those student athletes. So this is important on a number of levels. We want to create something fun and exciting for fans to be able, we talk about connecting with our community. Here we can create a digital trading card that fans can use to, support their favorite players. Then the other piece is, this is great to extend the brand of the student athletes so that they're more well-known. The more well-known they are, the greater value to their brand. And then the direct sales of this go to support student athletes' revenue-generating opportunities, which ultimately is going to help us recruit student athletes to come to Syracuse because they know how well we take care of the student athletes who are here now.
Not to get deep in the weeds with you, but if a pack is sold, does it get split amongst all players, or is it just to the players in the pack?
So great question. So the way that we do this is the first effort with our Brand R group licensing program. Brand R is a company that runs group licensing for the Major League Baseball Players Association, NFL, and NBA Players Association. So we now have an agreement with Brand R. All the students opt in, and all the students who opt in get an equal split for everything that goes. If there are cards that are purchased in a pack, it's an equal split. if somebody very specifically picks a card, like I got Chris Elmore today, and when I bought my pack, if I go to sell my Chris Elmore card, Chris will specifically get the portion of the proceeds associated with his card.
Oh, that's great. And on the market, this is basically the rookie cut. Like, this is your first chance to get a Sean Tucker if he goes on to be an NFL star.
Absolutely. And just for clarity, Sean hasn't signed yet. I anticipate that he will, but I think it's I'm glad you mentioned it, because if you go on there and you say, I don't see Sean today, over the course of this entire summer, we will be adding more and more student athletes to the collection.
And from what I understand, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, but Syracuse University is the first to do something like this in the college game. Is that right?
We are the first in America to do it with Fantastic.
All right, I got you.
Yep.
Okay.
And Fantastic is an important company because they do the European soccer programs very specific. Like Real Madrid is one of the biggest soccer programs, football programs in the world.
Arsenal, I believe, was on there as well, right?
Correct. Yep. Correct. And for us to be able to work with them and that quality of league and team, really, it really differentiates Syracuse among college.
Can you give us an idea of how much the student athletes could make off of this project? Is it possible to estimate?
It's difficult because it's to scale.
Right.
I mean, if a young person on our team just has an incredible season, or just, goes out and does community service and it becomes very, very popular, there really is no telling. It just depends on the number of cards that get purchased.
I wanted to ask another question on actual tangible cards. Like, I'm now seeing, like, Topps does Topps U and stuff like that. Is that done through the schools, or is that through players that get their cards done now? Because you can literally sell cards with college players on them now.
And it gets done both ways. And it's really up to the student athletes. If the student athletes want to do something that's co-licensed with us, I feel like this is an example of this NFT effort of our co-licensing philosophy that we've had. We were the first college in the United States to approve a co-licensing program for student athletes. Ours was on July 2nd when it got started. We have the influencer program that creates opportunities for student athletes. We have the Brand R program, and now we have this with Fantastic NFTs.
What's the feedback been like from the student athletes about any of these programs, but the NFTs in particular?
I think they're genuinely appreciative of us being in that space and trying to be really sophisticated and forward thinking. And I'm telling you, we are just at the tip of the iceberg on this. Right now, it's digital collectibles that we're swapping on phones. But before long, I'll be in here talking to you about the metaverse and about how these digital collectibles are going to be used in the metaverse as a currency, and then also just as a fun collectible that people are going to trade in this virtual universe. There's not enough time on this one to get into the metaverse, but it's a real thing, because if you think back to the first day you ever used the internet, you probably thought it was cool, but you didn't grasp at how much of your life is going to take place on the internet. The same is true with these NFTs. Right now, they're this fun thing, but 10 years from now, they'll be a big part of our lives.
Is this going to be amongst all sports too? Because the next question is basketball cards. The real ones are extremely expensive, and people go out of their way to get their players' first cards and stuff. Will this be basketball also and other sports?
The beauty of this program, and consistent with our philosophies on name, image, and likeness from day one, is every single student athlete at Syracuse has the opportunity to opt in. If they choose to participate, they will have an NFT created with their name, image, and likeness.
Is there any reason why they wouldn't opt in? Is there any? I mean, is it any drawback to it?
I don't know that there's a drawback. I think some student athletes just simply, are focused on other things. I mean, I've met some young people who said, "Listen, I came here to get a degree and play the sport I love," and they see it as a distraction. It's okay. That's up to them, right?
Is there other NFT companies out there that could maybe get a bigger guy? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Are other companies open to the players?
Absolutely. So, at least when I was collecting cards, you had Topps, Donruss, and then Upper Deck came on the scene, right? Oh my gosh, this new company. And so we do. There are other companies out there, And then, and this deal with Tech is not exclusive. So our student athletes have the total freedom. If they want to go sign with another company and do an NFT, that is fine. They just that they use their intellectual property and they go for it.
Could season ticket holders potentially have an NFT as their season ticket, like down the road, and sell it that way? Like,
it's very possible, and that might happen sooner than
right?
you anticipate. So you stay tuned.
All right. Well, since we're talking season tickets, I assume season tickets are on sale. What can you tell us about the upcoming football season? Things that we can expect to see from a fan experience.
Right. So listen, I've been around the team. I've been around the student athletes and the coaches, and there is an incredible amount of positivity with this program. I think we all feel really, really good about the young people that are going to go out and take that field. Season tickets are on sale. Season tickets are selling well. I think a lot of people, we get a lot of phone calls specifically about the Notre Dame game. Right now, if you want to get tickets to Syracuse versus Notre Dame, you have to buy that season ticket. We are very purposefully going to hang tight and continue to only sell that game via season tickets, mostly because we want our Syracuse fans to fill that building, right? Listen, we know there's a lot of Notre Dame fans out there. That's okay. But we want to make sure that the JMA Dome is filled and packed with orange. And the best way for us to do that is to make sure that we hold that game for season ticket holders and people want to be here for more than one game.
We talk on this show about the schedule, and we kind of look at it and we say, man, that's a daunting schedule. From a fan perspective, I would imagine, from your perspective, trying to sell the schedule, it's a great schedule because you've got 7 home games. You've got a lot of marquee teams. You got Notre Dame on the schedule. Florida State's coming here. They've been a little bit down, but it's still the Florida State program. NC State, there's a lot of buzz about the Wolfpack this year. It starts with an ACC game in the Dome with Louisville. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine it's a nice schedule for you to sell.
To me, this is the best schedule I've seen in a long time. And I think when you listen to our fans, right, they want to see marquee games. I mean, we got Purdue coming in here. Out of conference game representing the Big Ten Conference. What a fantastic opportunity for us to demonstrate the level of our ability here to go out and win big games against big opponents. And you guys know, look at the history of the Dome, right? I mean, when big marquee teams come in, we play very, very well.
I was going to say, I can't remember a schedule this tough at home. This is a great home slate. Like I go back to 92, they played Texas, Ohio State, and Miami at home. But that's as close as I could think of a home schedule that is as good as what you guys have this year.
Yeah, if they get to a bowl game this year, they're going to have earned it. Well, no doubt about that.
And I think we're all excited about that. You made a point of Louisville being the first game of the year. How exciting is it to open up with an ACC opponent on a Saturday night? Right, we can get that place rocking. And listen, as a former student athlete, I know how important it is to get a season started off on the right foot. If we get everybody in this town to come out to that game and we really have that place rocking with a home venue advantage, and we go out and beat Louisville, I think you're going to see one heck of a season.
Well, and you talk about setting the tone. And Paulie and I have talked about on this show, they need to set the tone this year because, again, if we're looking at a degree of difficulty, the first half of the schedule is not as difficult as the second half of the schedule. And, and if you beat Louisville, you're looking at all of a sudden maybe you could start like 4-1, right? 5-0 potentially. I mean, then you start, the math starts making sense.
Exactly.
In terms of getting to a bowl game.
Yep.
You mentioned your time as a student athlete. I kind of want to circle back to that, for instance, because, I'm looking at your bio here and you've got several degrees. Degree from Notre Dame, degree from USF, degree from Cumberland where you played baseball. You've done a lot of things in your life, athletic director, financial analyst for IBM. You worked at Miami. You worked at South Florida. You've had a lot of life experience. You're clearly a very intelligent person. How have your past experiences helped get you ready for this stage of your life, this job here at Syracuse University where you've kind of settled in and it seems like you found a home here?
Well, listen, I've been very blessed to have the opportunities that I've had. I will tell you the IBM experience was incredibly helpful for me. At the time, when I took over that position, I didn't realize how much data was going to influence our lives. And so I was blessed to work with really intelligent people and work in business data warehousing and doing all sorts of analytics in the very early 2000s before people were doing that every day in business. And then for me to have that experience, I was able to use data-driven decision-making to help all of the programs that I served make really good decisions and advance our programs. I'm really, really happy with the results I've had at every place I've been. And frankly, a lot of that has to do with the education that I got working for IBM and those folks.
I want to ask you a question. We've talked EFTs, IBM. Now you got JMA on the Dome. You know, there's a portion of the fan base, and I'm vocal about people being angry about things here, that were upset by this. But can you maybe, for the layperson, explain how important this deal was to Syracuse University to get a new name on the Dome?
It's hard to quantify, easy to qualify, in the sense that we appreciate Carrier. We do. They did a great job. They supported this program. They helped get that building built, and they ushered us into that new era in 1980, right? But here we are in 2022, and you guys have seen the changes in college sports over the last 12 months. I think those changes are going to continue over the next 12 years, and we needed a partner who could help us navigate that next 12 years. And so I'm appreciative of Carrier for giving us the opportunity to work with JMA and find somebody who's going to help us. And when you meet the JMA folks and you see that their level of professionalism and their passion for Syracuse athletics, you will know in an instant that it was a brilliant idea to partner with those folks. They genuinely care about this city. They genuinely care about our student athletes and this program. And I promise you, they're going to do everything in their power to be able to help us advance, be successful, grow these student athletes, not just as athletes, but as citizens. And there couldn't be a finer group of people for us to partner with for the naming rights of that facility. So I personally can tell you, I am incredibly proud to work with a university that's partnered with JMA Wireless. And time will tell, and you'll look back, everyone will be very, very happy with this.
It seems like they're invested in this community. Is there anything you could tell us in terms of, like, how long-term is this partnership/relationship with JMA?
Well, listen, the folks at JMA have had a relationship with us for several years before this naming rights agreement. There is no reason to believe that this agreement isn't going to go on for a significant period of time.
That's a feeling I get as well.
It's personal, right? It's almost like family, frankly.
Right. Paulie's talking about some people were upset about the naming of the Dome. With that in mind, along those lines, you're in the business of customer service to some degree, right? You talk about the fan experience and you want to make fans happy and you're building for the future all the time. Yep. What is a common complaint that you get that, you are not just you personally, but you plural, the university is working on to try and come up with a solution going into a new academic year?
Yeah. So one of the greatest things about my job and my responsibilities is I get to work directly with CUSE Council. And if you want to be a member of CUSE Council, we actually have applications right now. But CUSE Council is a group of about 25 folks, represent season ticket holders, alumni, people in the area that maybe just buy tickets from here and there, but come to the games and have an affinity for the program. We get to sit down with them, closed door sessions, and allow them to share their honest feedback, good, bad, ugly, whatever that is. And we take their feedback and we use it to help make great decisions on how to improve every facet of our operations. I would tell you the single number one thing that we get back is about post-game traffic, right? Because of the amount of time it takes to get out of those parking lots and then get home. One of the things that we are working on, we work closely with the local police departments to make sure that we are trying to get people out as quickly and fast as possible. One of the things that hamstrings us that I want people to understand is the number of hospitals that we have in close proximity to the Dome makes things difficult for us, because at previous places where I've worked, You've been able to take a street that was two-way traffic and turn it into 2 lanes of one-way traffic, so we can easily get people in on the way in and then easily get people out after the game. We're unable to do that here because of the hospitals, and we need to have those lanes open for emergencies. So we can't do that. Now, that being said, we got the I-81 grid project that's coming up. We're hopeful that we'll be able to work with the city to be able to identify new ways and new traffic patterns that's going to help people get in and out on game day. And if we do that, I would tell you that will solve the single most frequent issue that we have from fans.
Don't get me going on the fans. Look, like honestly, like the traffic. Come on, like have you ever tried to get out of Clemson? Like I drive to all the games. Leaving Clemson is a nightmare. Leaving Morgantown, West Virginia. Come on, it's the traffic's bad everywhere. If the product's good, a lot of people are going to go, and you're going to get stuck in traffic. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
I get you. I mean, it's true.
Could you imagine me being on Q's council too? You know what I would have been like? You know,
you'd be like, too bad.
You know. also, I would have been like, you know what? The Dome really needs is better rebounders when people are doing the shots at the chance to win money. Our rebounders don't get the balls back to them quick enough.
I'll make a note of that. Let's see. Okay.
Yeah, we need like Dennis Rodman under the basket.
What do you do this time of year? Is it do you get to enjoy a little bit of a lull vacation time around now before things ramp up in August? I hope
you do.
Good.
Yes, you do. And listen, me and everyone who works in athletics grinds.
Yeah.
From probably August 1 all the way until May. I mean, you really grind because, hey, we work the holidays. We work the weekends. Just because the game is over doesn't mean our work is over. You guys know that.
Sure.
Working in your industry. Hey, game's over. Your work just got started, right? And so, yes, we do use these opportunities to get away. But I would tell you, our mindset's called the harvest principle, right? Again, growing up on a farm, you learn this. You want to reap an incredible harvest in the fall. You've got a plan in the spring and summer, right? And that's what we're doing right now. Everyone in all of our departments is sitting down and saying, okay, how do we elevate our programs? How do we get better, right? From, I'll think about like graphic design and video production was something we spent a lot of time working on today. We are preparing for every video that you're going to see on the brand new center hung in the Dome, right? We are working on those videos. We're trying to make them more interactive, try to make them more fun, help them represent the student athletes better than what we've done before. We're looking at ways to be able to get more fans interactive with some of these videos so they get loud, they get out of their seats. When it comes to third down, that place is so loud, we can have a false start counter. Is one of the things that we want to do is every time that the offense gets a false start, we want to celebrate that and kind of give the fans a pat on the back by having a counter almost like you have the strikeout counter in baseball, something that we're working on developing so that all of a sudden it's not just an emotional thing, right? You actually get rewarded for being loud on first, second, and third down.
What do you like most about your job?
I love knowing that I'm serving student athletes. I was a student athlete who went through my whole college career absolutely oblivious to the fact that there were many, many people working to make my experience fantastic. I didn't appreciate my coaches. I didn't appreciate the administrators. I didn't appreciate the people who took the tickets at the gate. I just was ignorant to it. And later in my life, when I started coaching and realizing, there were a lot of people that really helped me succeed. That's kind of my passion for why I do what I do. And I love knowing that, you walk through and you smile and give a student athlete a high five in the hallway and you'll realize they don't know what we're doing. They don't, and it's okay. But when they're, 25 or 30 years old and they come back for an alumni event and they see you and they're older and wiser, they say, thank you. That's the best.
That's awesome. We are out of time. This was a lot of fun. Before we let you go, just remind people again about the NFTs and how they can take advantage of the offer today.
All right. I want you to go to the App Store. You're going to download the Fantastic Swap app. You're going to enter your information. You're going to select college sports. and you will have an opportunity to get a free pack of Syracuse NFTs.
All right, Andrew. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for doing this.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, Andrew Goodrich. And again, we'll do this every Thursday throughout the summer.